Welcome to our deep dive exploring Habits of a Happy Brain by Loretta Graziano Breuning.
Oh, interesting.
We're going to try and uncover those practical insights into how our brains work
Right.
and how we can utilize that knowledge to
Mhm.
actually create some healthier habits.
Oh, the author has such a unique biological perspective on happiness.
Hmm.
Her whole argument is that our brains, even now, function a lot like our mammalian ancestors,
Hmm.
fixated on survival.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Like so.
Like a bad hair day, for instance.
Right.
Seems so trivial.
Exactly.
But to our primal brain, that can be interpreted as a threat to social acceptance, which,
Mm.
way back when was a real danger.
It was.
It's amazing how the book emphasizes that our brains prioritize the survival of our genes,
Oh, yeah.
just as much as our physical safety.
It's true, and this survival instinct
Right.
ties directly into what the book calls our happiness chemicals.
Okay.
Dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, and serotonin.
Wow.
And each one of these connects to a particular survival need. And understanding these links, I think, is really crucial for modifying our habits.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's almost like our inner mammal is calling the shots
Uh-huh.
and, dictating what feels good, even if our rational mind tries to come up with a different explanation.
Precisely. So let's delve into these chemicals a bit.
Okay.
For instance, imagine landing that promotion you've been striving for.
Right.
You've experienced this surge of dopamine. You feel ecstatic momentarily.
Right.
That elation quickly fades,
Mm.
leaving you wanting more.
So we're essentially chasing those fleeting bursts of happiness chemicals.
We are.
That's so intriguing, but kind of daunting.
It is, and the book emphasizes this continuous quest
Okay.
can lead to excess
Hmm.
and even cause our habits that were initially designed to bring us joy to generate unhappiness.
Right.
Take overeating or excessive drinking or spending.
Right.
It all kind of fits this pattern.
So how do we break free from this cycle?
Right.
Is there a way to rewire our brains to experience happiness in a healthier way?
Absolutely. The book really dives into the incredible learning capacity of our brains.
Okay.
Each experience we have essentially creates a new pathway in our neural network.
Wow. It's amazing how our brains physically transform based on our experiences.
They do.
The book mentions 5 ways this happens.
Oh.
Myelination, synapse efficiency, neuron pruning, synapse growth, and receptor adaptation.
Okay.
Can you break those down a little bit?
Sure. Myelination is like insulating young neurons for quicker signal transmission, which explains why learning is easier during our younger years.
Okay.
Synapse efficiency strengthens connections between neurons through repeated use,
Okay.
making actions we perform regularly easier.
Got it.
Neuron pruning signifies the withering of unused neurons, stressing the importance of continuous mental engagement.
So our brains are constantly adapting and evolving based on what we're exposed to.
That's right.
It's so fascinating.
It is.
It's a little intimidating.
It certainly underscores the significance of making conscious choices that support our well-being. Synapse growth involves the formation of new connections between neurons that are frequently activated,
Okay.
demonstrating how learning literally reshapes our brains.
That's how we learn new things.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
And lastly, receptor adaptation implies that the brain becomes more adept at handling emotions it encounters repeatedly, underlining the influence of our emotional past.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Good.
Now, what about this chemical roller coaster?
Right.
The book mentions where our brains are constantly seeking out threats.
That's a crucial aspect of understanding how our happiness chemicals operate.
Okay.
Think about it. Our ancient ancestors survived by being vigilant,
Right.
always on the lookout for danger.
Right.
Even today, our brains retain this primal programming. And this actually gives us a dopamine rush when we identify a potential threat.
So we get a reward for feeling anxious.
Pretty much.
That seems counterproductive.
It might seem paradoxical, but it's how our brains are wired.
Wow.
This mechanism can lead to a negativity bias.
Where we tend to focus more on the negative aspects of a situation than the positive ones.
That's a fascinating but a little concerning thought.
It is.
Does this mean we're doomed to be perpetually anxious?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Understanding this mechanism is the first step towards managing it.
Okay.
And the book actually provides strategies for cultivating a more balanced perspective
Yeah.
and rewiring our brains to focus on the positive.
Let's dive into those strategies.
Right.
You mentioned that each happiness chemical has specific triggers, and understanding those can help us build healthier habits.
Right.
Let's start with dopamine,
Okay.
the reward chemical.
Sure.
The book uses this monkey experiment to illustrate this concept.
Oh.
Could you explain that for our listeners?
Certainly in this experiment, researchers initially rewarded monkeys with spinach.
Okay.
As you might expect, the monkeys weren't thrilled.
Right.
Then they switched the reward to juice.
Okay.
The monkeys went bananas for it. Their dopamine levels surged.
Mm.
But after a while, their excitement waned,
Hmm.
even though they were still getting the juice.
Interesting.
In fact, they started throwing the spinach,
Wow.
their old reward,
Right.
back at the researchers.
That's an interesting observation. I suppose it suggests that even highly desirable things lose their luster after a while.
Precisely, our brains are wired to seek out novelty.
Okay.
That initial rush of dopamine fades as a reward becomes familiar,
Right.
prompting us to seek out new and bigger thrills.
So how do we harness this knowledge to our advantage? How do we keep dopamine flowing without constantly needing bigger and better rewards?
The book offers several practical strategies.
Hmm.
One is celebrating small victories.
Okay.
Did you resist that tempting dessert?
Okay.
Did you finish that challenging task you've been putting off?
Got it.
Acknowledge those wins. Give yourself a mental high five.
So it's about retraining our brains to find pleasure in everyday achievements,
Yes,
rather than waiting for those monumental moments.
exactly. Another powerful technique is embracing the 10-minute rule.
Instead of getting overwhelmed by a large goal,
Right.
commit to spending just 10 minutes each day working towards it.
Mm.
That consistent effort triggers dopamine
Okay.
and builds momentum.
I love that it kind of takes the pressure off.
It does.
Makes even daunting tasks feel more approachable.
It does.
Are there any other ways to kind of stimulate dopamine in a healthy way?
The book suggests dividing unpleasant tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Hmm.
Instead of dreading cleaning the entire house,
Right.
focus on decluttering one drawer for 10 minutes.
Right.
You'll be surprised how much you accomplish.
Right.
And each small win releases a little dopamine boost.
I love that tip. It's like tricking our brains into productivity mode.
Pretty much.
Speaking of tricking our brains, the book mentions adjusting our challenge bar.
Uh-huh.
What exactly does that mean?
It means finding that sweet spot between boredom and frustration.
Mm-hmm.
If a task becomes too easy, our dopamine levels dip and we lose interest.
Okay.
Conversely, if it's too challenging, we get discouraged and give up.
So it's about finding that optimal level of challenge
Yes.
that keeps us engaged and motivated.
Precisely. Think of it like playing a video game.
Hmm.
You need that balance of difficulty and achievement to stay hooked.
That's a great analogy. All right, let's move on to endorphin,
Okay.
the pain-masking chemical.
Right.
Now, I'm not suggesting we go around intentionally inflicting pain on ourselves,
No.
but the book emphasizes that endorphin isn't just about physical exertion.
That's right. Endorphin can be triggered in a variety of ways.
Okay.
Some of which might surprise you. Laughter, for instance, is a fantastic endorphin booster.
Oh, I can definitely vouch for that. A good laugh always makes me feel lighter and more energized.
Me too.
What other unexpected endorphin triggers are there?
Believe it or not, crying can also stimulate endorphin release.
Really?
Holding back tears creates tension in the body, while a good cry can be cathartic, even triggering a sense of relief and well-being.
So it's healthy to let those emotions flow.
Within reason, yes, bottling up emotions can be detrimental to our mental and physical health.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the more traditional endorphin trigger,
Okay.
exercise.
Sure.
The book suggests that variety is key when it comes to reaping those endorphin-boosting benefits.
Absolutely. If you stick to the same workout routine day after day, your brain adapts and that endorphin rush diminishes.
So it's about shaking things up,
Yes.
keeping our bodies guessing.
Precisely. Try a new dance class, explore a different hiking trail,
Okay.
or even just take a different route on your usual run.
Right.
Your brain and body will appreciate the novelty.
Love it. And don't forget about stretching.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's an easy way to stimulate endorphin,
Is.
improve flexibility, and it can be incorporated into any daily routine.
Exactly. You can stretch while watching TV, waiting in line, or even during work breaks.
Right.
It's about finding those little pockets of time to care for your body and tap into those natural feel-good chemicals.
The book also mentions slow, mindful movements,
Oh, yeah.
like Tai Chi and Qigong as being really beneficial.
They are.
It's fascinating how these gentle practices can engage muscles
Mm-hmm.
we might not even realize we have.
It's true. The key takeaway here is to find what makes exercise enjoyable for you.
Right.
It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right.
Explore different activities,
Mhm.
discover something that sparks joy, and watch your motivation soar.
That's great advice. Now, let's shift our focus to oxytocin,
All right.
the social bonding hormone.
Yeah,
The book emphasizes that our brains crave connection,
they do.
trust, belonging.
It's woven into our very DNA.
Right.
And a fascinating point the book brings up is that even something called proxy trust
Okay.
can stimulate oxytocin release.
Proxy trust.
Yes.
Could you explain that concept a little bit further?
Certainly it refers to that warm, fuzzy feeling you get from cuddling with a pet,
Okay.
feeling connected to a crowd at a concert,
Hmm.
or even engaging in positive online community. It's not the same as deep personal connection,
Right.
but it still provides a sense of belonging
Got it.
and can trigger oxytocin.
It's like dipping your toes in the pool of trust before taking the full plunge.
Exactly.
That's a great way to think about it.
The book suggests building trust gradually,
Okay.
placing stepping stones towards deeper connections with individuals or groups.
Hmm.
Start with small, low-risk interactions,
Okay.
and let those positive experiences lay the groundwork for greater trust.
That's a sound approach.
Yeah,
It reminds me of the saying, trust is earned, not given.
precisely. And here's an empowering thought.
Okay.
We have the ability to choose to be trustworthy ourselves
Right.
by honoring our commitment,
Okay.
showing up for others, being reliable.
Right.
We cultivate trust both in ourselves and in those around us.
That's a powerful reminder. It's not about rescuing everyone or being a pushover,
No.
but experiencing the joy of being someone others can rely on.
And that feeling of being trusted triggers oxytocin in us as well. It's a beautiful cycle of reciprocity.
Absolutely. The book also talks about creating a trust verification system, which might sound a little cynical,
Right.
but it makes sense.
It does, especially when interacting with people outside our existing circles.
Okay.
A bit of healthy skepticism can be protective.
Right.
It's about verifying information, observing actions,
Okay.
and gradually expanding our trust circle based on positive experiences.
So it's about being discerning with who we allow into our inner circle.
Precisely. Now, you might be wondering where massage fits into all of this.
I was just about to ask that.
Okay.
It seems like kind of a leap from social connection to massage therapy.
Well, massage is a fantastic way to boost oxytocin.
Really?
Whether it's a professional massage,
Mm.
exchanging massages with a friend,
Okay.
or even practicing self-massage.
Got it.
Those soothing touch experiences can flood your system with feel-good chemicals.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I never realized massage had such a profound effect on our biochemistry.
It's all interconnected. Finally, let's explore serotonin,
Okay.
the social dominance hormone. This one can be a bit tricky,
Okay.
as the desire for social status is deeply ingrained in our mammalian brains.
Right.
And can easily lead to unhealthy competition, comparison, and anxiety.
So how do we harness serotonin's power without falling into those traps?
The book suggests channeling it in positive and fulfilling ways.
Okay.
For instance, expressing genuine pride in our accomplishments is a great way to tap into serotonin.
Got it.
It's not about bragging or seeking external validation,
Right.
but acknowledging our efforts
Right.
and celebrating our progress.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's about finding that internal sense of satisfaction,
Yes.
accomplishment, rather than relying on external praise.
Exactly. Are there other ways to kind of stimulate serotonin in a healthy way?
Absolutely. Making peace with things we can't control is another powerful way to experience serotonin. Our brains naturally crave order and predictability. When things don't go according to plan, we can easily spiral into anxiety and frustration.
Right.
That's so relatable.
It is.
I'm sure most of our listeners have experienced that.
Learning to accept what we can't change and focusing our energy on what we can influence
Okay.
frees up mental space
Mm-hmm.
and reduces stress.
Got it.
It's about surrendering to the flow of life
Right.
and finding peace amidst the chaos.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about shifting our perspective,
Yes,
recognizing that we don't always need to be in control.
precisely. And here's another thought-provoking idea.
Very.
Contributing to something bigger than ourselves can be a profound source of serotonin.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've always found that helping others or getting involved in causes I care about gives me a sense of purpose and fulfillment.
It's about recognizing that our happiness is intertwined with the well-being of others.
Mm-hmm.
Volunteering, donating to charity, or simply offering a helping hand to someone in need creates a sense of meaning and connection
Right.
that boosts our overall well-being.
That's a powerful message. So we've explored these 4 happiness chemicals,
We have.
how they influence our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors.
Uh-huh.
But what about those inevitable obstacles that we encounter
Right.
when we're trying to create lasting change?
That's where the next part of our deep dive comes in.
Well-
We'll explore common reasons people resist change, drawing on specific examples from the book,
Okay.
and offers strategies for overcoming those internal roadblocks. Let's examine some of those obstacles.
Okay.
A common one mentioned in the book is this notion that I can't lower my standards.
Right.
This often arises from perfectionism
Right.
and a fear of not being good enough.
It's like we're on this never-ending treadmill,
Right.
striving for this elusive ideal.
Exactly.
Is the author suggesting that these high standards can actually impede our happiness?
Precisely, maintaining unrealistic expectations often results in perpetual discontent,
Right.
a feeling of falling short.
Mm-hmm.
And so the book encourages us to kind of challenge those stringent standards and embrace a more compassionate, self-accepting attitude.
That's an insightful perspective. Another obstacle that the book mentions is the sense of entitlement.
Right.
The I shouldn't have to do this mentality.
Oh, I know that one.
It's like expecting someone else to magically solve all our problems.
Exactly. This can manifest as placing blame on others for our unhappiness or seeking instant solutions without putting in any effort.
Oh.
The book stresses taking ownership of our well-being
Right.
and recognizing that lasting transformations necessitate action on our part.
So it's about becoming proactive participants
Yes,
in our own happiness journey
exactly.
rather than passive bystanders.
I like that.
The book also discusses this rescuer complex, this conviction that focusing on personal happiness is selfish. So this leads individuals to prioritize helping others,
Right.
often neglecting their own needs in the process.
While altruism is commendable, it can become self-sabotaging. As the author reminds us, we can't pour from an empty cup. So prioritizing our well-being enables us to show up more authentically for others.
It's about finding that balance
It is.
between caring for ourselves
Yes.
and extending compassion to others.
I agree. The book delves into another fascinating obstacle.
Okay.
The desire to be prepared for the worst,
Right.
which often translates to clinging to negativity as a perceived shield against potential suffering.
Ironically, fixating on those potential threats
Right.
doesn't truly protect us from unforeseen circumstances.
It doesn't.
It just perpetuates this cycle of worry and pessimism.
Right.
It's like we're constantly anticipating a blow that might never arrive, and we're missing out on the joys and opportunities of the present moment.
Exactly. The book also addresses self-doubt.
Right.
This insidious whisper that we lack the capacity for change. This fear paralyzes individuals,
Right.
convincing them that they are incapable of growth or transformation.
But the author assures us that even small, consistent steps can yield significant shifts over time.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating faith on our ability to evolve,
Okay.
recognizing that transformation is an ongoing process.
The book also explores this feeling of collective despair, this lament that it's impossible to be happy in such a flawed world.
Right.
So this leads to a sense of helplessness.
It does.
Like-
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the state of the world,
Right.
but the author encourages us to focus on the aspects within our control,
Okay.
our thoughts,
Wow.
actions,
Right.
and reactions.
Well, it's about reclaiming our agency,
Yes.
cultivating contentment amidst those inherent imperfections of life.
Precisely. Perhaps the most prevalent obstacle discussed
Yeah.
is this "I'll be happy when" trap,
Oh, yeah.
where individuals postpone their joy
Right.
contingent upon achieving a future goal or circumstance.
This constant pursuit of external markers
Yes.
often leaves people feeling unfulfilled.
The book argues that genuine happiness resides in the present moment,
Right.
appreciating what we have,
Hmm.
cultivating a grateful mindset.
So it's about releasing the need to control the future,
Exactly.
embracing the beauty and the possibilities of the present.
I like it. So we've identified these common roadblocks.
We have.
Does the book offer any tools or strategies for overcoming them?
Absolutely. It presents a variety of techniques
Good.
for navigating those internal barriers and paving the path for lasting transformation.
One technique is mirroring.
Okay.
Finding someone who embodies the habit we aspire to cultivate
Right.
and learning from their example.
So it's like having a real-life model for success.
It is observing their actions.
Right.
Mindset provides guidance and motivation.
Another strategy the book emphasizes is balance. Focusing on developing those happy chemicals that we maybe haven't fully explored.
You're right.
So if you tend to gravitate towards dopamine, for instance,
Okay.
incorporating some oxytocin boosting activities, like cultivating relationships or engaging in acts of kindness,
Exactly.
could foster a more well-rounded approach to happiness.
That's a great point. It's like diversifying our happiness portfolio.
I like that the book also mentions grafting,
Okay.
connecting new habits to enjoyable activities we already practice.
Right, like combining a brisk walk with listening to a podcast or incorporating a few minutes of meditation into your morning coffee routine.
Exactly. By incorporating those new behaviors
Yes.
into established routines,
Right.
it facilitates their integration into our lives.
It does. The book also highlights the importance of energy management.
Right.
Our willpower is finite. And attempting to change too many things concurrently can lead to exhaustion and burnout.
So it's crucial to be strategic.
Yes.
And concentrate on one or two key habits at a time, preserving energy for the most significant challenges.
Precisely. The author also underscores the power of legacy.
Okay.
Aligning our actions with something enduring.
Right.
Whether it's raising children, contributing to our communities,
Wow.
or creating something that benefits others.
Right.
Connecting our endeavors to a sense of purpose and lasting impact.
Right.
Can fuel motivation and foster a sense of fulfillment.
That's an inspiring thought. The book also reminds us to find enjoyment in the process.
Absolutely.
Approaching change with a playful attitude.
Uh-huh.
Rather than this rigid all-or-nothing mentality.
Right.
Makes the journey more sustainable.
It's about incorporating joy into the experience. Rather than solely focusing on the destination.
Right. And finally, the book encourages us to visualize the benefits of our desired habits.
Oh, that's important.
So creating this vivid mental picture of ourselves, experiencing those positive outcomes.
Yes.
Strengthens our commitment and helps us persevere through challenges.
Exactly. It's like planting a seed of intention in our minds and nurturing it with positive expectations.
So we've discussed all these tools and strategies for building new habits.
We have.
And conquering those internal obstacles. Is there a time frame?
For implementing these changes.
The author emphasizes the importance of consistency and repetition.
Okay.
Suggesting it takes time and effort.
Right.
To establish new neural pathways and make them our default mode of operating.
Right.
And the book introduces this 45-day rule.
Okay.
Committing to practicing a new habit daily for 45 consecutive days.
Wow.
If a day is missed, you start over.
That seems daunting.
It can be, but the author assures us that consistent effort will eventually yield results.
That's a powerful concept. It's like training our brains for happiness.
Exactly.
Building resilience and fulfillment.
The author compares it to becoming a happiness athlete, building those neural muscles for lasting joy and well-being.
That's powerful imagery.
It is.
The author also brings up this concept of error correction.
Oh,
could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, it stems from our inherent ability to learn from our mistakes. Imagine a child learning to walk.
Right.
They stumble, they fall.
But they get back up.
Right.
And they refine their approach with each attempt.
Okay.
The book suggests that this corrective mechanism is actually essential for growth.
Okay.
And resilience.
So rather than dwelling on our setbacks,
yes,
we should view them as valuable learning experiences.
Exactly.
That can guide us towards our goals.
It embraces this growth mindset, acknowledging that setbacks are an inevitable part of the learning process.
However, our brains have this tendency to focus on the negative.
Oh, they do.
Magnifying those errors while often overlooking our successes.
This stems from an ancient survival mechanism where being hyper-aware of potential dangers was paramount.
Okay.
But in our modern world, this negativity bias can keep us stuck in a cycle of self-criticism and fear.
So how do we break free from this negativity trap?
The book suggests consciously noticing the positive. It's about training our minds to savor those pleasant experiences.
Okay.
Those small wins, those fleeting moments of joy.
It's like intentionally shifting our focus.
Yes.
From the thorns to the roses. Allowing those bright spots in our day to nourish our spirits.
I love that the book also presents this thought-provoking idea that the things that bring us the most happiness often don't involve our happy chemicals at all.
Really? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. Think about having access to clean water, nutritious food, a safe and comfortable shelter.
Okay.
These are fundamental to our well-being.
Right.
yet we often take them for granted.
It's true.
Our happy chemicals aren't constantly activated because they're designed to signal change, potential rewards, or threats.
So we need to cultivate this sense of appreciation for the abundance in our lives.
We do.
Even those mundane things that we tend to overlook.
It's about shifting from a scarcity mindset to one of abundance, recognizing the blessings we already have, instead of constantly chasing after something more.
I like that the book also encourages us to redefine our understanding of happiness, letting go of this idea that it's some sort of fixed state, embracing the messy, ever-evolving reality of being human.
It's a journey, not a destination.
That's a great way to put it.
And as with any journey, it requires effort, intention, and a willingness to adapt along the way.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into habits of a happy brain, can we distill some key takeaways for our listeners?
Certainly. Here's a concise 10-point summary of the wisdom we've gleaned today.
Okay, I'm ready.
Number 1, comprehend that our brains are fundamentally wired for survival even in modern times, and these primal instincts directly influence our happiness chemicals. Number 2, acknowledge that dopamine thrives on seeking rewards. Celebrate even small victories and break down larger goals into smaller, manageable steps to maintain a steady flow of dopamine.
That's a good one.
Number 3, embrace endorphin as a natural pain reliever. Incorporate activities like laughter exercise and even the occasional healthy cry into your routine to experience its benefits.
Great advice.
Number 4, cultivate close connections with others to tap into the power of oxytocin. Foster trusting relationships, find your tribe, and discover the incredible benefits of touch through activities such as massage.
Love it.
Number 5, channel the power of serotonin, the happiness chemical linked to social status in a positive manner. Express pride in your accomplishments, contribute to causes you care about, and learn to accept the things you cannot change. Number 6, identify the common obstacles that sabotage happiness and consciously challenge them. Perfectionism, entitlement, the savior complex, negativity bias, self-doubt, societal despair, and the tendency to delay gratification can all hinder your pursuit of happiness. Number 7, utilize the practical tools outlined in the book to pave a path toward lasting change. Emulate a role model. Strive for balance in your pursuit of happiness. Chemicals. Integrate new habits with activities you enjoy. Manage your energy wisely. Connect your actions to a greater purpose. Find enjoyment in the process, and visualize your desired outcomes.
Wow, that's a lot of good stuff.
Number 8, practice error correction by reframing setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth instead of dwelling on them as failures. Allow these experiences to refine your approach and move you forward.
I like that perspective.
Number 9, cultivate a sense of appreciation for the abundance already present in your life, recognizing even the seemingly insignificant things you might normally overlook. This shift in perspective can foster contentment and gratitude.
That's a good reminder.
And finally, number 10, remember that happiness is not a destination, it is a journey. Embrace the process, be patient with yourself, and enjoy the experience of continuous growth.
What a fantastic compilation of wisdom.
It is.
I feel truly inspired to incorporate these strategies into my own life.
I think the book's approach is so empowering. Because it equips us to take charge of our own well-being.
Right.
We're not just victims of our genes or our circumstances. We have the ability to reshape our neural pathways, cultivate healthier habits, and ultimately lead more fulfilling lives.
I love that, dear listener. What is one small action you can take today to start building a new habit that supports your happiness? Maybe it's expressing gratitude for something you often take for granted, or devoting 10 minutes to a passion project, or simply allowing yourself to laugh a little more freely. Remember, even subtle shifts in perspective and behavior can create a ripple effect of positive transformation over time. Until our next deep dive, keep exploring those amazing neural pathways and enjoy the incredible journey of becoming a happier you.